What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2023 and the next episode of Mondays in Middle-earth as we continue our read-through of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, Silmarillion, and possibly beyond, depending on how well this series continues to do. We are currently sort of midway through, maybe like a third of the way through. I don't really know chapter numbers of The Return of the King. We're on chapter 6, The Battle of Pelennor Fields. Um, This is our first episode in like 2, 3 weeks, I think, because we took a break for the holidays, but we are back. We are continuing. Moving forward, same day, but we're upping the schedule a little bit. Instead of these airing at 11 a.m. on Mondays, they're going to be airing at 9 a.m. Central on Monday mornings moving forward into the new year because I have a new streaming schedule from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day. So, with that being said, um, yeah, we're going to get going. Before we do, though, this is the point of the video where I say if you're new here, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and do me a favor. I am on YouTube full time. The advertising doesn't pay that great. So the support I get from you, the viewer, is paramount to me to be able to continue to do this with Chris full time, whether it's this series or any of the other things that I do here on YouTube. So please consider supporting. It's really simple. On an upload like this, you can just drop a super thanks, which is a one-off donation, or you can join as a member here on YouTube. We have 3 different tiers down there. Pick whichever one works for you. We do private videos, we do polls and other stuff for our members. There is also a Patreon page for that fantasy world, which I've built with my wife and my brother. We got a whole bunch of stuff that we do there. And of course, there are live streams and premieres that happen here on a daily basis. And if you're here live, you can always do a super chat or a sticker, one-off ways to support. Please consider one of those as to means of supporting the channel. Consider me like, I'm Hulu, I'm Netflix, I am a content creation source. So that being said, I've gotten the commercial stuff out of the way. Let's dive in. If you've never watched one of these before, I do a live read through sort of, but then I chop up my reactions as I go through the chapter and then we get to the end. So without further ado, we're going to be jumping into chapter 6 of Return of the King, the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Here we go. It was no orc chieftain or brigand that led the assault upon Gondor. This is, Sauron has brought out the big guns for this fight. This is the fight of the war. We've got to crush Minas Tirith. We have to crush the armies of men and just come out swinging. And so he's put the biggest and baddest at the forefront of this army. But also noteworthy here is that it says here, the darkness was breaking too soon before the date that his master had set for it because fortune had betrayed him for the moment and the world had turned against him. Because basically things were not going according to Sauron's plans, so his attack had come. He was forced to attack sooner than he had anticipated because Aragorn had come out with the Palantir and things are happening, and Sauron's like, oh shit, there's actually a little bit of a little bit of resistance, more than I thought there was gonna be. Ooh, it says well nigh all the northern half of the Pelennor was overrun, and camps were blazing, orcs flying towards the river like herds before the hunters, and the Rohirrim went hither and thither at will, but had not yet overthrown the siege, nor won the gate, because many foes stood before it. This is a really just bad situation. Just not good for any of the parties involved. Ooh, it says here the drawing of the scimitars of the Southrons was like the glitter of stars because there were so many of them. That's an intense way to describe it. That was the drawing of their scimitars was like the glitter of stars. That's a lot. That is a lot of swords. Things are about to get bad here. In the midst of the glory of the king, his golden shield was dimmed, and the new morning was blotted from the sky. Dark fell about him. Horses reared and screamed. Oh! Snowmane was wild with terror, stood up upon high, fighting with the air, and crashed upon his side with a black dart piercing him, and the king fell beneath him. So this is the big, big, big fight, and I think that the way they portrayed this in the film was amazing. It really was great. The great shadow descended like a falling cloud, and behold, it was a winged creature. We finally get a description of the beasts that the Nazgul ride, by the way. Yet one still stood near the king, Dernhelm the Young, faithful beyond fear, and he wept, for he had loved his lord as a father. And right through the charge, Merry had been borne unharmed behind, it says behind him until the shadow came. And then Windfalla had thrown them in his terror and now ran upon the plain. Merry crawled on all fours like a dazed beast, and such a horror was on him that he was blind and sick. This is the power of the Nazgul, more importantly, the power of the king of the Nazgul. Ooh, this is very powerful because it says Mary's heart cried within his breast. King's man, you must stay by him. As a father you shall be to me, you said to him. But it said his will made no answer, and his body shook. He dared not open his eyes or look up, because this is so powerful is the fear of the Nazgul. Oh, and here's Dernhelm. And we know, those of us, I'm getting a little emotional right now. Those of us who have read the books, or even if we've seen the movies, we know that Dernhelm isn't Dernhelm. And, oh, be gone, foul creature. Oh my god. And, it's don't become come up to an Nazgul and his prey. And it says a sword rings as it was drawn. Do what you will, but I will hinder it if I may. No living man may hinder me. I've got tears in my eyes right now. No living man am I. I'm sorry, my voice is cracking too. No living man am I. You look upon a woman. Eowyn am I. Eowyn's daughter. Oh. Her bright hair, released from its bronze, gleamed with pale gold upon her shoulders. Oh. Oh. I love this because just like in the film, like the Nazgul, the beast strikes at her, and it said, "Still she did not blanch, maiden of the Rohirrim, child of kings, fair yet terrible. A swift stroke she dealt, and she just cuts off his head." Oh man, this is really powerful. A light fell about her, and her hair shone in the sunrise. And then out of the wreck rose the Black Rider, tall and threatening. Oof. He breaks her shield. And then Merry stabs him in the back of the knee. And this is where she stabs him in the face. And her sword shatters. But she kills him. She kills the Lord of the Nazgul. I'm going to get a little emotional here. I'm going to cry a little bit because this is where Theoden is such an amazing character, but also this is where I can actually feel, Tolkien experienced war in the trenches and men on their deathbed dying. Theoden here, he opens his eyes. They were clear. And he's telling Merry, my body is broken. I go to my father's. This is such a powerful statement here. My body is broken. I go to my father's, and even in their mighty company, I shall not now be ashamed. I fell the black serpent, a grim morn, a glad day, and a golden sunset. So this is Valhalla. Like he is finally feels like he's worthy of the name that he has borne over these years, because he's always been like, I've just been this guy sitting there, and then I allowed Saruman to corrupt me, and I'm weak, and I'm not worthy, and now he has found that worth. Man, I'm crying about as bad as I did when I did the Gollum stuff at the end of Two Towers. Whew. Oh, it's very unfortunate. He dies not knowing that Eowyn lay near him. Oof. But then Éomer sees her. Oh shit! He stood a moment as a man who was pierced in the midst of the cry by an arrow through the heart, and then his face went deathly white, and a cold fury rose in him so that all speech failed him. Oh. Oh, and now he goes on. Death, ride, ride to ruin, and the world's ending. Like, he doesn't know that she's still alive. He thinks his sister and his king are dead. And now Éomer is like, that's it. Ride to ruin, and the world's ending. This is the it. We're going out with a bang of glory. Ride. And it says the Rohirrim sang no more. Death, they cried, one voice loud and terrible. And gathering speed like a great tide, their battle swept about their fallen king and passed, roaring away southwards. Holy shit, that's powerful. Oh, so this is when Prince Imrahil, the Prince of Dol Amroth, realizes that she's not dead. He's like, Men of Rohan, she's not, she's hurt to death. There are no leeches among you, but she yet lives. And they take her back to the city. Oof. Now the men of Rohirrim are outnumbered. Not just, it says 3-1 against the. If the Rohirrim at their onset were thrice outnumbered by the Haradrim alone, the case became worse, for new strength came streaming to the field out of Osgiliath. Easterlings with axes, Varegs of Can, Southrons in scarlet, and at a far hard, black men like half-trolls with wide eyes and red tongues. Oh, and here comes the fleet up the Anduin, only they don't know who's actually in the ships. The courses of Umbar, men shouted. Look, the courses of Umbar are coming. And said some ran to the ships. So Éomer says, even as he looked at despair, he looked out again on the black ships and lifted up his sword to defy them. And then wonder took him and a great joy. Oh, man. Because there displayed, as the ship turned towards the Harland, a white tree, and that was for Gondor, but 7 stars were about it, and a high crown above it, the signs of Elendil, that no lord had borne for years beyond count. And the stars flamed in the sunlight, for they were wrought of gems by Arwen, daughter of Elrond, and the crown was bright in the morning, for it was wrought of mithril and gold. Aragorn is here! The return of the king! Yeah! Thus came Aragorn, son of Arathorn, Elisar, Isildur's heir, out from the paths of the dead, borne upon a wind from the sea to the kingdom of Gondor. And the mirth of the Rohirrim was a torrent of laughter and flashing of swords. Oh, man. Oh. There's a great poem here at the end um, of the at the end of chapter 6. I'm not going to read it here. It's definitely something that is worth reading. Um, it's a song of the mounds of Mundberg, but it's a the end of this is very somber because it's talking about the loss of all of the people. Just what an amazing chapter! Like, honestly, I did not expect to be so emotional reading this chapter because it is just a battle chapter. But I mean, it's there's so much that happens in this chapter with the fall of Theoden, the slaying of the king. You've got this moment. I think for me, the most powerful moment of that chapter is just Éomer thinking that all is lost. Like, his king's dead, he thinks his sister is dead, and he just ride death. Like, kill them all. Like, this is the end of the world. Ride to ruin. This is the end. And then in the midst of all of that, seeing the ships come and seeing Aragorn's symbols on the flags and realizing, oh, all hope isn't lost. And then they meet up, on the battlefield in the middle of all that and have this moment of appreciation for one another as like battle lords. Such a powerful chapter. Definitely one of the most powerful moments, I think, for me in terms of like I cried a few times in the Gollum sections, but that was different. This was, a very emotional chapter for me. Hopefully that's I don't do that at all the chapters. Not all these chapters are emotional enough to bring me to tears, but this is definitely one of them. So that's the end of this week's episode of get my sniffles out of my system. This episode of Mondays in Middle Earth. If you liked it, please support. It's really simple. Drop a super thanks on this video. Join as a member, 3 different tiers below. Hit up the Patreon page. Tune into a live stream. Do a super chat. All those things are great ways to support. Don't forget I stream every day 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and I will see everybody next Monday, 9 a.m. Central, as we continue our read through in the Mondays of Middle Earth series. Thanks so much to everybody. Hopefully you're having a happy new year. See everybody in the next episode. Cheers.